They spent billions on infrastructure, on servers, on data centers. They looked at their people and you know what they said? We can get a better return somewhere else. Imagine you show up to work on a Tuesday morning. You didn't miss a deadline, you didn't get a bad review, and your company just posted its best quarter in history. And you see that at 6 a.m. you got an email from leadership telling you that today is your last day. No warning, no manager call, just a termination email. And then your system access, it's gone. Oracle laid off between 20 and 30,000 employees on in March of 26. That's roughly 18% of its global workforce. No prior warning from HR, no conversation from their manager, just an email. And here's what I want you to take away from this: not panic, not paranoia, strategy. What Oracle just showed the entire corporate world is that being reliable is no longer a career strategy. Mm-mm. And I've actually been saying this for a few years now. If you've been leading from loyalty and availability instead of judgment and positioning, this one is for you. I need you to stay to the end because I have a 7-day mini challenge that could change how you show up at work this week. Now, let me say something. Before I even say something, how about you drop the word signal in the comments? If you've ever felt like your loyalty to a company, it wasn't matched. You know how they match your 401k, but you felt your loyalty wasn't matched. Oracle isn't the only one to do this. There's several other companies that are making changes. Amazon, Microsoft, like they've done the exact same thing in the last 60 days. And this isn't a recession cycle. It is a rewiring of how companies allocate human capital in an AI first world. So let me say something. It's going to sting a little bit, okay? The employees most at risk for those moments that I just described, the ones that happened at Oracle, they aren't slackers. They're the ones that aren't checked out. They are the ones that stayed late. You know what they did? They answered emails at 10 p.m. They picked up the slack when the team was short. They are the ones who became known as the person who always figures it out. Come on, raise your hand. That's you, right? Come on, you always figure it out. And guess what? That's the trap. It really is. McKinsey women in the workplace, they say that women consistently over index on execution and under index on strategic visibility. And they get rewarded for it right up until the moment that they don't, right? So we overdo it. Women intentionally overdo it, but we always get less visibility. Look, all the research is showing that. So what are we going to do about it? There's a version of dependable that reads indispensable, and there's a version that reads as available. And guess what? Corporate doesn't always distinguish between the two. So if your value is tied to your output and not your judgment quality, that's a positioning problem, not a performance one, right? And here's what I want us to shift. Oracle just made a very public bet. They looked at their organization and they said, you know what? We are betting on AI over people. And I need you to hear that that's not a threat, it's a mirror. Because the question it raises is, what are you betting on? Are you betting on your availability, your loyalty, your ability to absorb more work? Or are you betting on your judgment, your voice, your strategic positioning? Companies are cutting roles and they're cutting execution roles and keeping the people who can orchestrate, who can interpret, who can drive decisions. And that's the new job description. That's the one I need you to start stepping into right now. Oracle bet on AI. It's time for you to bet on yourself, not by working harder, not by making yourself more available, but by leading yourself differently starting this week. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 things to do this week. First, I want you to to do one thing. I want you to pull up your calendar over the last 2 weeks. Where's my calendar? And I want you to look at how much time was spent executing versus shaping decisions, not judging it. I just want you to see it, right? Because you need to mirror your patterns first. You need to hold up a mirror to your patterns because you can't move with intention until you get a sense of where you are. Okay. What are you looking for? You're looking for where most of your hours are in execution mode, delivering, coordinating, responding. That's useful data. And it means your value to the organization currently sees it. It's seeing you as tied to your output. And guess what? Output, it can be automated, it can be restructured, it can be eliminated. But guess what can't? Judgment cannot be eliminated. So the shift I want you to make is pick one meeting this week where you shift from reporting what you did to sharing what you think. Bring a perspective, name a risk, ask a strategic question that no one else asks. That's the beginning of the shift, of the repositioning. And that's truly job security. Now, this is small enough to do on Tuesday morning and big enough to see the change in you. Are you ready for number 2? You're ready for number 2, right? The second thing I want you to do this week is write down, physically write down the outcome from your last 30 days where you use your judgment, right? Where you read a situation, your decision, your recommendation, and it actually changed something, not what you did, what you decided. And let me tell you why, okay? Most women I work with, they can't answer that question immediately, not because they haven't contributed strategically, but because they've never named it. And if you can't name it, you can't claim it, and you can't expect other people to name it or see it. And if you don't see it, who else will? So once you've written it down, okay, yes, you wrote it down, right? I want you to say it out loud, first to yourself, and then in your next one on one, in your next team meeting, not as a brag, but as a contribution. Based on what I've observed, what I recommend, and here's what changed. You see, that's the script you use. Let me repeat it again. Like, based on what I observed, here's what I recommend. And here's what changed. That's it. That's the move. That's the judgment. That's how you go from being in execution mode to strategic. You don't have to wait for a Tuesday morning to decide what you're worth. Do you realize that? You can start this week. Hold up a mirror to where your values live. Own what you've been deciding and begin leading yourself like someone whose judgment matters. Because it does. And if you want a structured way to do this, I made something for you. It's a 7-day self-leadership mini challenge that walks you through this kind of reset, one day at a time. And the link is in the bio. I want you to go get it because you're ready. You're ready to pivot. You're ready to shift.